I was going through, and one of the reasons why we were a little bit delayed getting started was tomorrow's top 25 today. And it was, Tom, I don't know, you don't always track this, but did you know that every single top 25 team played this week?
Yeah, because the agenda that you had to keep Illinois out kept them from being in the top 25. They run it by. So
I got
congratulations.
them in. So surprise, by the end of this, we're going to do tomorrow's top 25 today. And guess what? They're in 22.
Yes.
Yes.
We've earned
Yeah.
Chip's respect.
Every single team from the AP Top 25 played. We had 5 games between ranked unranked teams. We had 9 ranked teams that took losses by the end of this thing. So, yeah, there's a lot to get to as we continue to peel this thing back. Tom Fornelli in studio for CBS Sports all through the day. Georgia Ole Miss, you and I talked about this game at halftime, and we both thought that Georgia would end up winning. Did it happen the way you expected?
No, because like they lost the third quarter and then they completely took over the fourth quarter. And that's not how the treasure map was supposed to go. But it is weird when we're watching Georgia now, because when they're in these big games like this, how many of them are like 80-point shootouts now? It seems to be happening every single time. And you think of like the Georgia teams that were winning national titles, like the boa constrictor, and they would just, they'd get the lead on you, and then they just suck the life out of you until the game was over. And now they're waiting until the second half to do that, but it took them a while to do that today, and it's just, I'm continuously baffled by Gunnar Stockton's ability to just make stuff happen.
Yeah. I like him. I can't argue with an NFL guy or a quarterback evaluation guy who's going to tell me that Gunnar Stockton doesn't have it, because I'm just going to tell you that as a purely college football fan with zero evaluation skills when it comes to trying to translate talent, like, I don't know, that guy just goes out there in college football games and makes winning plays. It started, honestly, when he came in for Carson Beck in the SEC championship game. And we were even going into the Notre Dame corner final thinking, like, I don't know. Yeah, Gunnar Stockton could get Georgia pretty far. He did not eventually, but yeah, I'm with you. I find myself believing in Gunnar Stockton more than all the QB eval guys out there, or even gals.
There's been a lot of love for Trinidad Chambliss since he became the starter at Ole Miss, and I think Gunnar outplayed him. Just plain simple today. You look at it, he's 26 of 31 for 289 yards and 4 touchdowns. He rushed for 59 yards. He had the long touchdown run. And it's kudos to him, because I watch him play, and like I said, it baffles me how he's able to do it time and time again, but damn it, he keeps doing it. So I have to give him credit for it.
Throws too.
Yeah. It's like there will be like when it's 2nd and 10 and you just need him to get 4 yards to get yourself into third manageable. No shot in hell is he completing that pass. However, when it's the biggest moment, he will complete the pass. He's incredible at doing it. But back to the original point, though, I do think that like Kirby Smart deserves some credit here, because they were winning games when they were defensive juggernaut. And the problem that this team has this year is that along the lines of scrimmage, they're not nearly as good. Their offensive line isn't as good as it was a few years ago. Their defensive line this year is not nearly as good. But they're still figuring out ways to win these games, and they're still playing good teams, and they're still beating good teams, despite the fact that their identity has had to change just based on the personnel that they have on the roster. So I think that says a lot about Kirby. I think it says a lot about that coaching staff. And I know like some Georgia fans are very like, they're getting mad at Schumann because, the defense has been pretty bad in these games. But I think when you don't have the defensive line you're used to having, it's hard to have an elite defense. I think that's been the case for everybody since the dawn of time.
And how much? All right. So if you want to complain about that short pass to Deshaun Stribling that he ends up taking like 75-yard touchdown pass where he does a lot of it running after the catch. Sure. Yeah. Like, okay. Lane gotcha coming out of the locker room. Fine. But was all of that like out? I felt like there was a lot of out of structure Trinidad Chambliss just making it happen too. Yeah. It's a little bit tough to be able to be concerned about, like eventually that Georgia defense did settle in.
Yeah. And that is, I mean, that's kind of how Ole Miss works with Chambliss. Like he will put the plays in structure when it's there, but the one thing that has kind of separated him from Simmons, I think, obviously, besides Simmons' inexperience and some of the turnover problems, is that a lot of that is when the things went wrong. Simmons wasn't able to get him out of it or make anything happen. Chambliss, at least, while he might not be as gifted of an athlete as Simmons, or he might not have the stronger arm or whatever you want to look at as far as looking at him as a quarterback, his experience, even if it's at the level that he was at, is helping him in these situations. Just like, okay, well, play's breaking down. Doesn't mean the play's over. Play goes on. We have to finish it and make something happen. So, but I mean, that was two good teams. And I've said all year, like, Ole Miss is a team to me that I felt was good, but wasn't as good as their record suggested. I figured they were going to lose at some point. I figured they were going to lose this game, and they did, but they were still impressive even in the loss. So this is a spot where it's like I look at the top of this league, and we'll get to them soon here, but like I still feel like Alabama is the best team in the SEC. But I think after that, there's like 5 or 6 teams that I generally think are kind of all right there in that next tier.
Doesn't it feel like there's a bunch of 10-2 teams?
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the losses to come.
Yeah, I don't know
if these teams, and I don't know when they're going to come. I don't know who they're going to come to, but it just feels like there's a lot of 10-2, 9-3, and it's just going to be a couple of conference games down the stretch that decides who's 10-2 and making it to the playoff, and who's 9-3 and going to be mad about missing out on the spot because Illinois is getting in.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's like mathematically possible to have 5 of them finish 10-2 because of the schedules, but I do feel like you're going to see like that kind of finish at the end. Like the bottom of the league's probably going to be pretty awful because you're going to have Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Auburn taking on a whole lot of losses.
Yeah. Lot to continue to get into here for Ole Miss. I'm sensing that we're not panicked. This is a fun back and forth. You threw your punches. You were on the road. You lost by a score. I'm not changing. Like, Ole Miss's ranking will change. Again, we'll get to that more in the tomorrow's top 25 today. But like, there's no panic about what Ole Miss is or isn't. We don't need them to be anything different. They're still a very, very good football team at this point, right?
Yeah, and you look at the rest of their schedule, like they've got Oklahoma on the road next week. Won't be easy, but can Oklahoma score enough points to win that game? Because I love that defense. I just don't know if they could completely stop Ole Miss. And I think if Ole Miss gets 24, you're asking a whole hell of a lot of Oklahoma. But then after that, South Carolina, Citadel, Florida, at Mississippi State. The Egg Bowl's the Egg Bowl. But still, you look at it, it's hard to imagine they're probably going to lose at least one of those games. You think they're going to lose 2? I don't know.
Keeping it in the SEC, Alabama, you mentioned the class of the conference, 37-20 winners in the third Saturday in October.